First of all, let me start by saying it's a real honor to be here and take part of such a meaningful discussion. I really look forward to hearing all about the incredible work that's been accomplished by this influential panel, and hope that we can have a fun and honest conversation. So, hello everyone. My name is Ramon Heredia. I am a program manager for JP Morgan. I'm also the head of the Autism at Work program for receivable operations as well as the Chicago market. I'd like to give you guys a little bit of background on what exactly receivable operations is. So in receivable operations, we process physical payments, whether it's personal checks, corporate checks, money orders, you name it. I know what you're probably thinking. The answer is yes. People still write checks today, and they write lots of them. We employ over 3,500 employees. We process 15 million payments a month, which equates to about $60 billion. The livelihoods of the consumers are in the hands of our employees. You see, we process payments for their loans, their mortgages, their utility bills, medical bills, and even donations. It's critical that we have a strong, talented, and communicative workforce, and we're also aware that in order to have an ever-improving team, there needs to be an element of diversity. The diversity of the workforce, specifically for all of our investment banking operation, is 56% female, 29% Black, 21% Hispanic, and 11% Asian. For receivable operations, our diversity is much higher, and we're continuously trying to drive those numbers in a positive direction, especially considering that the unemployment rate for this group is roughly 4% higher than the national average. Now, when we talk about diversity, oftentimes we fail to mention the neurodiverse. With the Autism at Work program here at JP Morgan, we've identified an opportunity to further expand our definition of diversity. But before I go into the details of the program, I'd like to throw some facts your guys' way, if you don't mind. Some of these you may already know. There are roughly 70 million people across the globe diagnosed with autism. 65% of those individuals are unemployed, and that does not even mention the number that are underemployed. This is 9 times greater than the global average, even accounting for all the recent job losses due to COVID-19. What's more is that although 35% of the 70 million people go on to earn a college degree, the rate of unemployment for this group is 85%. I use this as an example. How is it that someone with the intellect to earn a college degree cannot find employment? It's because we have not built an inclusive environment for all. During an interview, things we typically look for are the strong handshakes, the constant eye contact, the right words that'll grip our interest. And if we don't see any of these qualities, we may say that the person is not qualified for the role. We don't realize it, but we're penalizing people for being different. There is a huge market of untapped resources ready to contribute their skills to companies in all industries. We just need to be more inclusive. So I'd like to spend the next few minutes taking you on our journey and talking about how we were able to successfully launch the Autism at Work program within JP Morgan. 5 years ago, our Autism at Work program began with the leadership of James Mahoney and Anthony Pasilio. It was a 4-person pilot in Delaware for the role of software testing. And it didn't take us long to realize the value of the talent. After just 6 months, the 4 individuals had a productivity rate that was close to 50% better than their peers, and they remained as top performers every month after. This story repeated itself across multiple lines of businesses as we started to expand within our organization. Today, we've hired 200 talented individuals across 40 roles, 8 countries, and 21 sites, and we have even more in the onboarding process as we speak. These are individuals who are grateful, appreciative, and loyal, and it's proven by the fact that we have a 90% retention rate with this talent. Now, for us to make continuous progress in terms of the expansion, we had to get the support and buy-in of our senior leaders. And I have to be honest, I would be lying if I said that every time we pitched the program to a new market or a new line of business, there was 100% buy-in. There were always questions, and some of the biggest questions were: one, what roles are the right roles? And two, what if this doesn't work out? The answer to number one is simple: any role is the right role. For some reason, most tend to think technology roles or data king roles are most ideal, but the reality is that the neurodiverse are just like anyone else in that each individual has his or her own interest and skill set. Also, the Autism at Work program is not an act of charity. There is a pool of capable, underutilized, true talent who can creatively solution some of our problems. We just need to give them the opportunity. Number two, what if this doesn't work out? Well, realistically, that's a possibility even with a neurotypical hire. However, the approach that we took in some cases is we let the neurodiverse try the roles out. And we did this through a 6 or 9 month assignment as a contractor, with the intent always being to hire them as JP Morgan employees if they performed to the set expectations, and more importantly, if they felt the job was a good career choice for them. Now, before we would onboard talent through the program, there was a lot of preparation and training involved in order to make sure that we were creating an inclusive culture and environment. We partnered with Rangam and Next for Autism on a number of fronts. First, the team assessed our workplace environment to provide feedback on what we may be missing, as well as bring to our attention any potential components that may cause an issue for someone on the spectrum. Things such as fluorescent lighting, loud machinery, high traffic areas, having floor layouts available, and visual aids related to the process or the dress code. Secondly, was to support us in conducting autism awareness and inclusion sessions. And we trained over 1,000 employees within receivable operations alone. Today, JP Morgan has trained 5,300 employees on autism awareness. This goes from our maintenance staff to the hiring managers and onto our executive managers. And one of the benefits as we began to roll out and conduct more training sessions was that we started to see more individuals who hadn't previously disclosed that they were on the spectrum. They were now feeling more supported and comfortable enough to disclose with their manager and team, and would even share some of their unique challenges and perspectives. This caused the teams to be more empathetic and come together and build a level of support for each other. Which brings me to my next subject: supporting our neurodiverse talent. Earlier, I touched on the typical interviewing process and how it may not be the best method in identifying qualified talent. In receivable operations, we've tried a new interviewing process. Firstly, we minimized panel interviewing. Interviews cause enough anxiety as it is. Having 4 people on one side of the table doesn't help. Another thing we altered was, rather than the traditional question and answer approach, we started our interviews out with a tour of the production floor. We had our candidates shadow an employee for a few minutes so that they can see the type of work they would be doing and understand our process. Afterwards, we'd have a discussion with the candidate on how they felt about the role. And at this point, they had a clear understanding of what the job would require, which opened up the dialogue and allowed for more effective conversation. This allowed us to not only make sure they were the right employee for us, but for the talent to ensure that we were the right employer for them. Our partnership with Rangam was a huge piece of supporting our neurodiverse talent. Not only are they a predominant resource for us in terms of talent placement, which helps us make this a scalable program, but they've also been a key ingredient in the success of our program, as they provide ongoing support not only to our new hires, but to the hiring managers as well. They've collaborated with our JP Morgan teams to understand our process and the associated expectations, and have created simple yet detailed explanations through visual aids such as pamphlets, handouts, and videos, which, by the way, were also created by neurodiverse individuals. They are a big contributor to the success of our neurodiverse talent, especially here in receivable operations. So much so that our teams to see the overall benefit of having these visual aids and started to think of ways that they can contribute in simplifying the function of payment processing through the power of universal design. Now, I'm sure most of you can agree that there have been quite a handful of unique and unexpected challenges over the past 8 months or so. I can think of one specifically, and it's probably the reason that we're all here virtually today. It's COVID-19, right? COVID-19 forced us to alter a lot of what we do, both on a professional and a personal level. Receivable operations, for the most part, is a 24/7 operation, which required quite a bit of adjustments in order to meet the COVID-19 standards. For JP Morgan, the safety of our employees was first. We altered our operating hours, we made schedule adjustments, and we followed social distancing guidelines, which means less employees required more real estate. This ultimately had an impact on our process. And while we were able to find space in terms of real estate, now we had to find the talent and we needed to have them to be able to have a quick influence on the operation. The JP Morgan team designed and created workstation placemats that served as visual templates for our payment processors on where to place specific documents. The placemat also had images and instructions on how everything should look and be prepared. With these placemats, our new hires in their first month were processing the amount of payments that they would have in their third month of the traditional training method. I know most of you are probably thinking, what does any of this have to do with the Autism at Work program? But I honestly do not think that this solution would have been as successful without the autism awareness training and the program itself. Because the hiring managers of the program all had a say in how this mat should be designed, and they were thinking about how to make it beneficial for their neurodiverse talent. So that just goes to show that whether it's changing your interviewing process or designing new guides and tools, when you improve the experience for someone on the spectrum, you improve the experience for everyone. While we're on the subject of COVID-19, there are a few things very powerful that occurred within receivable operations, and it says a lot about the program that I would like to share with you all. As I mentioned earlier, we have a number of different hiring models for our Autism at Work program, which includes the contractor assignment. Well, during COVID, JP Morgan offered a plethora of additional benefits to our JP Morgan employees to help them get through the challenges of COVID-19. And like most employer benefits, that did not include our contractor population. So our management team quickly reached out to convert our neurodiverse talent from full-time contractors to full-time employees ahead of their assignment time to ensure that they would not miss out on any of the benefits. So I'm happy to say that not only have we converted 5 contractors to JP Morgan employees in the midst of COVID-19, but we've also hired 20 more neurodiverse employees, and we have every intention of continuing to add more. This is a testament not only of the talent and the capabilities of our new hires, but the inclusivity and the empathy that has enhanced our culture as a firm. The last thing I'll talk about today are the accommodations. Now, I saved this subject for last because I have to be honest, although we have had quite a few creative accommodations, there have not been any that have been costly to the firm. We've provided accommodations such as noise canceling headphones, assigned seating, dimmed lighting in a particular corner of the building, even coping mechanisms such as stress balls, raccoon tails to simulate the petting of a pet, and maybe an extra break or two if needed. But again, these are not costly, nor do they require a massive change to the business. But what they do accomplish is they truly make everyone feel included. I can't tell you how many of our neurodiverse individuals say they love their job at JP Morgan, and it's the best job they've ever had because none of their previous employers made them feel accepted. We have fantastic employees who enjoy coming to work, want to prove their value, and hope to be here for a very long time. As for our neurotypical staff, they could not be more supportive. And I'll read you a quote directly from one of our hiring managers. This program has given us the patience to understand our talent. These individuals have not only inspired us, but also brought lots of energy into our teams. What's more, they provided us with some new perspectives on how we operate. Truly, we learn and grow from each other along the way. I think this goes to show that this program has provided an improved experience for both the talent and our business. At JP Morgan, we strive in hiring unparalleled talent regardless of their physical makeup. Our diverse culture is what makes us one of the world's largest and strongest financial institutions. Diversity breaks apart barriers, it improves innovation, collaboration, and overall culture. And our neurodiverse talent is no exception to the excellence in our diversity. I'm very passionate on this subject because, like I'm sure most of you here today, I have a personal connection to someone who would be considered disabled. My 7-year-old son was diagnosed with autism. He is a smart, loving boy who just happens to have a hard time constructing proper sentences and explaining his thoughts and feelings. As a parent, we spend our time finding the best ways to prepare our children for this world. And as I begin to see my son's character evolve and develop, and I begin to see what kind of opportunities are out there for the neurodiverse, I begin to see that the world is not prepared for my son or others like him. So I ask that we all take the time to continue to educate ourselves on the subject, help demystify the stereotypical misconceptions, and influence and drive opportunities within our organizations so that we can collectively redefine what capable talent looks like. Thank you.